Welcome back to Psypris' Asylum. This time we'll be discussing costume contests. At this point, it shouldn't surprise you that there are several different types of contests in the cosplay community, and of course, I'll be briefly discussing each one, as well as the underlying question, for what reason does one compete? To start off, a contest is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A group of people are judged by a selected committee and awarded one or more prizes. These prizes could be money, gifts, trophies, certificates, or simply just a round of applause and the knowledge that your costume was the most, insert award name here, out of all other contestants. The categories will differ depending on the size of the contest and the theme or genre, but for the most part there will usually be a Best in Show or Best Overall, Novice, Journeyman, Master, and Judges Award. Other categories include Best Performance or Skit, Best Weapon, Best Group or Pair, Most Accurate, Best Craftsmanship, the list goes on. Once again, this is determined by those hosting said event. For example, Atlanta Anime Day, a single-day dealer's room, is judged by a round of applause and has a single contestant winner, whereas a huge convention like Dragon Con has separate contests for anime and animation, masquerade, Star Wars. They even have a hallway competition, which is judged by viewers online. So we know the basic concept of a costume contest, but what are the different types? I'm sure there are many, but the few that I'll be discussing are the traditional Halloween costume contest, your average small convention cosplay contest, a craftsmanship contest, a masquerade or cosplay skit contest, and a closet cosplay contest. If you listened to my first episode, you'll already know what the difference between a Halloween costume contest and an average cosplay contest is, namely the construction. With the exception of the closet cosplay contest, it is a requirement for all cosplay being judged to have been made by the contestant. I will note that the person wearing the costume does not need to be the one who made the outfit, as long as the person responsible for the outfit submitted themselves to be judged. In other words, you can't commission a costume and enter a contest without the approval and explicit disclosure from the maker of the costume. However, usually no one cares if you made your Halloween outfit, as long as you're either funny, sexy, or look exactly like the character you're trying to emulate. While we're bordering the topic, closet cosplay is the bridge, if you will, between non-cosplay costume contests and full-on cosplay contests. It's not a requirement that you make any of your closet cosplay, and the judging is more based on presentation and entertainment than construction. Certainly, apparent effort and accuracy of the character one is portraying will be considered, but all of the closet contests I've witnessed have been judged mostly on popularity with the audience. I am by no means saying that there is anything wrong with this, just that it has a much more casual and laid-back approach. The average cosplay contest will have 3 judges and a host. The judges will balance craftsmanship as well as the character portrayal and will award based on overall success of a costume based on these elements. In my personal, biased opinion, most cosplay contests are really unofficial craftsmanship contests, as they focus more on the techniques used in making the costumes and not the overall success of a costume. For example, French seams will win over hot glue hands down, despite the fact that the difference is only noticeable if you are literally examining the garment. Now, let me explain my dissatisfaction. It is not that I feel the French seam costume did not deserve to win, but rather that the contest itself did not specify it would be judging based on the technique used. If the hot glue user looks identical to the character they are portraying, whereas the French seamers say didn't wear a wig, and this is an arbitrary example not based on an actual event, then it is my belief that the hot gluer should win, as the contest is judging cosplay. Now, if the contest is called a craftsmanship contest, then there would be no question as to the outcome of the previous scenario. Not only would the hot gluer not be considered for an award, but they would more than likely be scoffed at and highly encouraged not to compete at all. Craftsmanship contests usually open up the award genres, so the focus is not only on sewing, but also prop and armor making. The judges will be picked a bit more carefully, and will usually have a seamstress, or a seamster, an armor maker, and last year's Best in Show or Masters winner. Finally, we get to my personal favorite, but ironically the least popular, masquerade and cosplay skit contests. Now, for the purpose of this podcast, I'm merging the two together. However, there is a bit of a difference. While a masquerade judges the contestant's costume as well as the portrayal of the character, a cosplay skit contest judges on the overall performance. Why did I merge them? Because with a few exceptions, cosplay skit contests just don't exist anymore. It certainly is understandable. There's a long setup and breakdown time between each group. The audio is always either off sync or so horrible you can't understand them, and talent is way more subjective than hemlines. Masquerades, on the other hand, is the compromise, or at least that's how I view it. It takes into account the idea that cosplay is the portrayal of a particular character and not just an outfit. So now that I've covered most of the different types of contests, I'll try to uncover the reason why one would compete. There are actually several reasons, and because it relies heavily on personal feelings, any number of them could apply. I do want to take a brief moment here to say that I have actually competed twice in my time. I first competed at MomoCon in 2009 in my mascot Kero costume from Cardcaptor Sakura, with my sister as Soupy. We didn't win, but we did have a judge find us after the contest and tell us that she had voted for us to win, which, while unbelievable, was very touching. I say unbelievable because I know exactly why we didn't win. You see, my sewing machine broke and I was a poor college student, so I actually hand-stitched my entire bodysuit, and the seams were not pretty. We were also mascot costumes, which rarely ever win because the average cosplayer doesn't understand the mediums used and therefore tend to overlook them altogether. And no, I'm not just saying that because I'm sour we lost. I never actually expected to win, and I've seen many amazing fursuits and mascot costumes go unnoticed and unawarded in my con-going time. The second time I competed was at Anime Week in Atlanta 2014. My sister and I again teamed up. She was full mascot Stitch and I was Lilo. We entered knowing we wouldn't win but hoping to hear some critiques from the judges, and were unfortunately disappointed when they focused all their questions on me and completely ignored Stitch. Despite the use of hidden magnets and Velcro to turn Stitch into his alien form 626. A friend who worked as a volunteer told me they legitimately did like my dress, but in all honesty, Lilo was only done to accompany Stitch. With these two experiences under my belt, I can securely say that competition is not for me. The entire time I was constructing Lilo and helping out with Stitch, I was panicking over what the judges would think. You spend hours in line waiting to be judged and to go on stage, and you're fretting the whole time. That being said, I love exhibition. Exhibition is when you essentially catwalk on stage as a precursor to the actual contestants, so you're not actually competing for the award. The only downside is that people might not think you made your costume, as it's not a requirement for joining the exhibition. But you get all the perks of the contest without any of the stress. And a quick shout out, we were the first ever hot and bulky exhibition for Anime Week in Atlanta, so that's a thing. Okay, going back to the topic at hand, why would people want to compete? Well, as I mentioned, there are perks. When you spend so much time, energy, creativity, and money on something, you want to share it and be acknowledged. I'm not saying everyone who competes is attention hungry. People simply want to be recognized for a job well done, especially when it's something they love doing. Cosplay is a very community-driven hobby, and while nothing can compete with hugging a child who legitimately thinks you're a real-life princess, being on stage is a close second. As I mentioned, cosplay takes money. Some people enter the contest hoping to win the prize money. This isn't to say they are greedy, but rather they're seeking to recoup lost revenue. I don't think there's a single person out there who only makes a costume just to win money, but it's definitely nice to cushion the financial blow with money you earned with the very hobby you spent the money on. Likewise, the recognition. This is similar to the first idea of simply being acknowledged by your peers, but this one goes deeper and is focused more on the business and marketing side of things. Cosplay has created not only professional cosplayers, which we'll be discussing in the next episode, but also full-time commissioners. In fact, Crabcat Industries, a pair of lovely ladies who starred in the reality show Heroes of Cosplay, entered into the film and entertainment industry through costuming. Worth more than the money is the fame, or rather the certificate that states that you are the winner. Costume contest awards are the closest thing this hobby has to an official recognition, and those looking to make a career out of this often look to it as a foot in the door. So we have approval, money, and recognition. Those aren't the only reasons, but those are the most common ones that I've heard. Some other side reasons would be to meet specific people, such as the judges or host, and to make new friends, because I wasn't lying when I said you wait in line for hours, although it's way better when you're just exhibition, trust me. So I hope I either enlightened you to the world of competition, or at least explained correctly why you yourself compete. If you have anything you'd like to comment on this or any other topics I've discussed, feel free to email me at psyprisasylum@gmail.com. That's PSYPRIS asylum@gmail.com. If you want to be heard, submit an edited and censored, please, WAV file, and I'll include your voice on the next week's podcast. I'm also having trouble coming up with a witty catchphrase. I wanted to keep the theme of insanity, but I'm not sure how people will feel if I tell them to stay crazy. So for now, stick around.